Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life that do not shout, but whisper, not with words, but with experiences that pierce deeper than any sound could reach. Let me take you to such a moment. I was not in search of the Koran. I was not in search of God. I was in search of peace, even if I didn't know it at the time. And like many of us, I thought peace was something I could achieve with control, success, knowledge, or even detachment. But I was wrong. Years ago, I lost someone I loved deeply, not to death, but to life, to the slow, painful distance that grows when hearts no longer understand each other. No arguments, no fights, just a silence that stretched across months, turning familiarity into a foreign land. I thought I could heal by burying myself in work, travel, distraction, like stacking bricks over a wound, hoping it would stop bleeding. But the wound was inside me, and you can't run from something that lives within you. One night, unable to sleep, I went for a walk. It was cold. The wind bit my skin, but I welcomed it. It reminded me I was still alive. I passed a small mosque, silent, lights off, doors closed. But something pulled me to the bench outside. I sat there, shivering not from the wind, but from something within me I couldn't name. Then, out of nowhere, a memory. As a child, I saw my grandfather read the Koran every morning. He'd say nothing, but his eyes carried peace. Back then, I thought it was just old age. Now, I wondered what if it wasn't. That night, when I returned home, I searched through a box of things from my childhood, and there it was, dusty, unread, untouched, the Koran my grandfather gave me years ago. I held it, unsure of what I expected. Miracles? Answers, no. I expected nothing, but life had emptied me enough to try anything. I opened it, slowly, cautiously, like someone stepping into sacred water, afraid to disturb it. And the verse I saw first, indeed, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest. Surah Ar-Rod 13:28. I don't know why, but I cried. Not because it was poetic, not because I understood it deeply, but because, for the first time in months, the words met me exactly where I was. That was not the end of my pain, but it was the beginning of my return. Since then, I have opened the Koran not to conquer it with intellect, but to be conquered by its stillness, not to find more knowledge, but to lose the noise, not to judge, but to be judged, not to control, but to surrender. And what I have learned is this: the Koran is not a book you read like a newspaper. It is a mirror. It doesn't always tell you what you want to hear, but it tells you what your soul forgot it needed. So if life ever brings you to a breaking point, if silence surrounds you, if your heart aches without words, don't run. Sit with the pain, let it whisper, let it guide. Maybe, just maybe, that pain is not here to punish you. It's here to return you, and maybe, like me, you too will open the Koran not as a scholar, but as a seeker, and finally realize it was never just a book. It was a conversation waiting for your silence. Life's hardest moments can be silent invitations to divine truth. These moments do not arrive with grand announcements or dramatic gestures. They creep in quietly, often disguised as loss, confusion, heartbreak, or silence. They bring us to our knees, not always physically, but internally, stripping us of our illusions, our pride, and our sense of control. And in this vulnerable state, something shifts, not outside us, but within. Pain is a language few are fluent in, but all understand. It bypasses logic and speaks directly to the soul. When everything else in life falls apart, we are no longer distracted by the noise of comfort. The routines, the distractions, the expectations, they dissolve under the weight of suffering. What remains is the core of who we are, and the quiet echo of something greater than ourselves calling from within. In that space, divine truth does not arrive in lightning bolts or loud sermons. It comes in the stillness after the storm, in the moment we stop asking, "Why me?" and start whispering, "What now?" The truth is, we rarely seek God when life is good. Success, pleasure, and comfort can create the illusion that we are in control, that we are enough on our own. But hardship reveals a deeper truth, that our hearts crave more than temporary highs and fleeting wins. We crave meaning, and often we only begin to search for it when the ground beneath our feet starts to crumble. It is in these times that divine truth becomes not just an idea, but a lifeline, something to hold on to when everything else slips away. Suffering doesn't always give us answers. Sometimes it gives us better questions. Questions like, who am I without the things I've lost? What matters when nothing else seems to? Why does my heart feel so heavy even when others see me as strong? And what is this ache that no achievement can silence? These questions are not weaknesses. They are openings, small cracks in the wall of our ego through which light can enter. And in that light, divine truth waits not as a command, but as a presence. Life's most painful seasons often push us toward silence. And in that silence, if we are willing to listen, not with our ears, but with our hearts, we may hear the subtle call toward the eternal. The divine does not need to shout. Truth does not need to demand. It waits patiently for us to exhaust all other distractions. It waits until we stop resisting the discomfort and begin to surrender. This surrender is not giving up. It is giving in to something greater, deeper, more ancient than we often allow ourselves to consider. There is something strangely sacred about hitting rock bottom. It is the one place where there is nowhere left to fall and nothing left to pretend. In that raw honesty we are finally open, and in that openness the divine truth can speak. It might say, "You are not alone," or "This pain is not punishment, it is a pathway." Or perhaps most powerfully, it says nothing at all, but fills the silence with peace. The Quran, for instance, has spoken to millions of hearts, not simply because of its eloquence, but because of its ability to find people in their most broken places and remind them that they were never forgotten. In the darkness it brings verses like a lantern, soft, steady, unshakable, and in moments of pain these verses don't just comfort, they reveal. They reveal that suffering has meaning, that trials purify, that the heart, when turned to God, finds rest. Divine truth does not remove hardship, it reframes it. It teaches that life is not about avoiding pain, but about growing through it. That tears are not signs of weakness, but of depth, that hearts were made to break, but only so they could open. And once open, they become vessels capable of holding more light, more wisdom, more love. So when life becomes heavy, when silence surrounds you, and your strength feels like it's slipping away, do not rush to escape the discomfort. Sit with it, listen, let it humble you, let it soften the parts of you that have become hard. Let it remind you of what truly matters, and know that in that very moment you are being invited not to despair, but to discover, not to give up, but to look up. For it is in the stillness of hardship that many finally hear the whisper of divine truth, and once heard, it cannot be forgotten. It becomes a compass, a companion, a clarity that carries us through the storm, not around it. Conclusion: the Quran doesn't just answer questions, it questions the answers we live by in the end. What the Quran offers is not just information, it offers transformation. Its words do not merely respond to our curiosities, they challenge the very foundation of our beliefs, habits, and assumptions. Many come to the Quran hoping it will confirm what they already think, that it will soothe their wounds and agree with their world view. But the Quran is not here to comfort the ego, it is here to awaken the soul. When I first opened the Quran, I thought I was looking for answers to pain, to heartbreak, to confusion. But I quickly realized something much deeper was happening. The Quran wasn't just giving me responses, it was turning my life upside down. It was asking me, why do you think success is defined by the world? Why do you worship what can be taken from you? Why do you search for peace outside when your heart remains neglected inside? These are not the kind of questions that make you feel comfortable, they make you feel exposed. But this exposure is not cruel, it is necessary. Because the truth is, most of us leave with borrowed answers. We inherit them from society, from culture, from media, from people who never questioned them either. We chase status, attach our worth to titles, relationships, and image, and call that life. The Quran comes to ask, is that truly living? It does not scream, it doesn't impose, it invites, it reflects. It nudges you to go inward, to examine what you call truth, and whether it is truth at all or just convenience. What are you worshipping without realizing it? Whose voice do you follow when you feel lost? What do you turn to when you're in pain, and has it ever truly healed you? These are the questions that the Quran silently places before you, and when you begin to answer them, not with your mind alone, but with your heart, your tears, your experiences, a shift happens. Life is no longer something happening to you. It becomes a divine journey, guided not just by rituals or rules, but by consciousness and sincerity. And this is the miracle. The Quran does not change with time, but it changes you through time. You may read the same verse 100 times and on the 100. And first time, it speaks to you in a way it never did before. Why? Because you have changed. Because your heart was finally ready to receive a truth that was always there, waiting. So, the next time you open the Quran, don't only seek answers. Let it ask you something. Let it interrupt your comfort, challenge your ego, and rearrange your soul. Because its goal is not to decorate your bookshelf. Its purpose is to cleanse your inner world. The Quran doesn't just give light. It teaches you how to walk with it. And in that light, you don't just live, you awaken.